I'm Bob Straz, Mayor of the City of Palos Heights. And for some of you who don't know, historically the Palos Heights Chamber of Commerce would run my State of the City every year, usually in January, February, March, the early part of the year, at a luncheon over at the rec center. And for some reason this year they decided to change their operation and decided not to sponsor it. So, but I thought it was appropriate and necessary that at least I address it to the residents of the city. You know, what happened last year, where we're going, and things for you to look forward to as we go through the next year. So. First of all, I'd like to tell you that the city of Palos Heights, the finances are in an excellent situation. They have been for a number of years. This actually is the 24th year that we've run at a surplus, and I think I'm proud. One of the things I'm proud of is it's not that we're running at a surplus just because we raise your taxes every year or we raise fees. When you look at the balance sheet and income statement for the financial or for the city, which I do, obviously, it's a combination of increasing income and actually controlling the expenses. I mean, and it's important to try to control those expenses. All too often in government, you know, people just, you know, hey, it's not my money, I'm going to go ahead and spend it. But I have to say that our department heads and, you know, personnel throughout the town are consciously make decisions based on trying to control the cost we have here in the city. And as I said, this is the 24th year we've run at a surplus. You know, and why is it important? And I've said this numerous times, but I think it's very important that the residents know that over the last 20 years we've received about $12 million in grants. And what's the correlation between the surplus and grants? Well, usually the grants are from various agencies, state, federal, county. And we have to come up with 20%. So, you know, we come up with 20% and they come up with the balance. And that maximizes, you know, the monies in return to the taxpayers. I mean, we take advantage of the surplus. If we didn't have surpluses and we didn't have money in balances that we can use, we wouldn't be able to take advantage of it. And we'd have to pay full cost for all those things. And those things meaning roads, pipes, you know, things, different projects that I'll cover in a little bit later. But again, they're used for roads, for parks from Maine. I mean, a lot of our park improvements come from grants. The equipment we buy for the police department, for the public works department come from grants. So those are all uses of the grant money that we have. You know, our fund, general fund, normally runs $3 to $4 million, and which is 30% of our expenditures on an annual basis, and it's well within our policy. We set that policy a number of years ago, and so we keep 30% of that of our expenses that we anticipate for the upcoming year in ready cash. You know, and now, again, that's earning interest, but it's ready cash. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the balance of that is not just sitting there. We actually make investments with that, for the most part, in CDs and local institutions. We try to keep the money local. And last year we earned over $500,000 in interest income. I mean, that's showing that we are watching the tax dollars of the individuals here in town. And then also that gives us a way to maximize our dollars. I think I'm going to go back here a little bit and talk a little bit about grants and how we use them. I think a perfect example of it is I was at a meeting of the Southwest Conference of Mayors, which we had a presentation by the MWRD, Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and they're talking about permeable parking lots and how they do those throughout different areas, and they pay for them. I mean, obviously, the idea is that the water will drain better and won't have drainage that'll create problems with their sewer systems. So I know we needed a parking lot over in Lake Catherine, and I thought, hey, that property is actually owned by MWRD. So we approached them about, hey, what would you think about putting a permeable paver parking lot in Lake Catherine? And that's what they're doing. I mean, we're actually spearheading the project, but they're funding half of it. And then on the other side of that, so that left us with 50% unfunded. Same organization, Southwest Conference of Mayors, you know, we have a funding mechanism for what's called the road programs, and the technical word is surface transportation projects, but it's actually programs that are funded by motor fuel tax money that you pay when you go to the pump. And we were able to get a grant from them for the balance of the cost of that parking lot, because it's actually a collector for the bike path that runs along the Cal Sag. So we're actually getting into this whole project for about 5% of what it would normally cost. So that's why it's important to have monies available for matching grants and being a great servant of your tax dollars. And we've done that historically, and we will continue to do so. I think another high quality thing we have in our town is the police department. I think we've had one of the most highly qualified police departments in the area. We've made it a point to equip all our officers with body cams. They all have body cams on their body. And in that light also, we have installed 9 license plate readers throughout town. I'm a firm believer in that's a way to check crime. I mean, just recently we had a break-in at one of the shops on Harlem Avenue. We responded. Our average response is under 4 minutes. I think in this case we responded in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and within an hour we had through our license plate readers we had picked up the car in Alsip, and then it went on to Dan Ryan and was stopped later. But again, that was all been done using license plate readers. So again, we have 9 license plate readers throughout town, and then 10 of our squad cars also have license plate readers. And a lot of this comes from what we call the drug asset forfeiture money. And what it is we have a number of officers. At this present time, we have 2 officers that are assigned through the federal task force with federal, whether it be ATF or the Homeland Security. And quite frankly, when they make confiscations of assets on drug dealers, we get part of the proceeds. It's kind of a great deal for us. Last year alone, we got over $350,000 in funds that we can use for law enforcement. Just for example, I've got some numbers here I want to read because otherwise I'd lose them. But the 2024, our Homeland Security Investigation Division, we confiscated $853,000 in bulk currency through illicit sales of cocaine. We had miscellaneous high-end jewelry for estimation of $384,000. We had 31 arrests we were involved in. We confiscated 63 kilograms of cocaine and 10 illegal firearms. So with the exception and the idea of getting these people off the streets, which is one of the reasons we're doing this, this is great training for our officers when they come back. They may serve a couple of years and they come back. They have all these investigative skills that they can use here for the residents of the city of Palos Heights. Again, keeping in mind that if we receive the proceeds of the bounty of what they receive, we use that for our law enforcement area. Since I've been here and well before me, we actually have never had to pay for a squad car through taxpayer money. It's all come out of drug asset forfeiture money. The equipment you see that a lot of our guys wear, the different vehicles we have, actually our police station was paid through drug asset forfeiture money. So it's a great deal. It helps us a lot with our ongoing relationship also with the federal government as far as law enforcement. And quite frankly, that helps a lot going forward. Just a couple of things I'd like to hit on. Again, we're keeping with the police department. Just to give you a summary of what they did last year. They had over 17,000 incidents they handled. For a small department, in a town of 12,000, that's quite a bit. We had 34 DUIs. We had 10 arrests for the unuseful use of weapons. And our average response time, which I kind of alluded to earlier, is 3 minutes and 43 seconds. So that's quick when something happens. One of the things we're also very proud of is our crisis intervention squad that we initiated a number of years ago. And the attempt is to maybe mitigate a crisis before it turns into something more deadly. Last year, we had 173 crisis intervention and mental health cases we investigated, and 22% of those were involving substance abuse. 25 of those were suicides, or suicidal, shall we say, and 9 were schizophrenics having related issues. So those are the kind of things that the police department does on an ongoing basis, and I think you can feel comfortable living in our town. I mean, we have, as I said earlier, we have one of the best police departments around, and I think everyone on the council agrees. We had a meeting the other day that about police, and I think to a person, everyone was was happy with the way our police department works. On a personal note, in the middle of April, we'll be saying goodbye to Chief Bill Chakowski. After 44 years with the police department, he's deciding to retire. So somebody else obviously will step up to fill his position, and we'll deal with that later. So, but just kind of give you an idea of where we are. The Public Works Department continues to flourish. I mean, they do road maintenance, water main breaks, sewer breaks, road resurfacing. And that's just in general, in addition to the general maintenance they do during the year, as far as through the buildings in town and things such as that. I think we're fortunate to have Adam Jasinski as our director. Adam's a professional engineer, one of the few professional engineers that heads a public works department in our area. And I think just one of the things that Adam gives is a sense of professionalism, to the department. Not all too often, sometimes things may have been done because we've always done it that way. Adam has the knack of starting to look into why we've done it that way, and maybe there's a better way to do things, and that's come up in a number of instances recently. Just recently, we received a grant from CMAP, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization. That's the acronyms, aren't really that important, but we got a grant to laser evaluate all the roads in the city of Palos Heights. Now that was going to cost us, as we looked into doing something like that, $60,000. But through relationships and things such as that, with the CMAP, we were able to get the grant, and it actually ended up only costing us $6,000 instead of the $60,000. And what that did is, it was a laser. I saw the operation. It drove over every street in Palos Heights and evaluated the pavement with an instrument, a laser instrument, well above my pay grade. But it told us which roads had to be worked on more quickly, and which ones were actually satisfactory for the given standards. And it was kind of interesting. Actually, the ones that were needed repair were kind of the ones we thought were going to be needed repair. So those are the ones we're doing in this year's road program. We're not without some setbacks. I know I'll be the first one to admit it. I mean, I talk about all the nice things we do and good things we do, but we do have some setbacks. Last year with the hailstorm, we did have a little backup with the permits, and I apologize, to residents who got caught up in that. We intended not to hurt anyone, obviously. The whole idea was to protect the people. We had a lot of contractors coming in from God knows where to try to, fix people's roofs, and we weren't aware of them. There's a number of steps, especially with roofing, is one of a very regulated state industry that you need to do. So we wanted to take all the time to, make sure that the resident was not getting scammed, basically. And in many cases, it may have taken a little longer. I mean, we did add extra people. We brought in our inspectors. Instead of doing inspections, they were actually working on permit review in the office. We brought in 2 people, one young lady from the PD, and we hired a temp. But you've got to understand, the number was dramatic. I mean, in the years 2022, 2023, we averaged about 155 roof permits, a year. Last year, just in that storm we had in mid-2024, we issued over 1,033. So we went from 155 to over 1,000. I mean, those are numbers. And as I said, we brought in the people, tried to do it. What are we going to do? We're going to make it better. We're adding and upgrading our systems. So that kind of thing doesn't happen again. So I'll be quite frankly, sometimes some bad things happen. We've taken the steps to make it not happen again, and I think you can feel comfortable. We've addressed it, and you'll get service and the other things over in the building department, which you do. I mean, building department, other than just handling permits for local people, you have to understand they do building review for some major buildings. You got the hospital is under their jurisdiction, as is Trinity Christian College, and any of the larger office buildings in town. So there's a number, it's not just, fence permits and things such as that. They've got a lot of stuff on their plate. So on the business development side, Ken Bessie, our longtime business development person, retired after a number of years with us. In mid-year, we brought in Amy Engels. She's to handle a task, and Amy brings an extensive background in municipal government, served as a number of different positions throughout the south suburbs in metropolitan Chicago. We started the business district with Ken last year, or actually the year before, at the end of 2023, and now Amy's following up on that task. And the 1% business tax, has been accumulating. We've got about we started with in April. We receive about $30,000 a month from the business district people, and how we're going to spend that. We're going to be addressing at the next planning and zoning committee. We're going to be asking for a request for proposals from consultants to help devise the plan going forward. And as far as what's going to be there, you just can't start knocking down buildings. In the meantime, we have been dealing with a number of the people in that district. Quite frankly, there's been a couple of potential sales going on there, and one could work out very well for the city as far as being able to direct what's going to happen there. One of the problems, as many of you know, and I don't want to ramble on here, but is that the problems we've suffered throughout the Harlem Avenue area is that there's no one large owner that owns more than there's maybe two or three owners that have one building, two buildings, or and trying to get them together is like can't agree. And many of them are absentee, so they're not even here. They just collect the rents and then they go on from there. As long as they're getting the rents, they don't care. But we do have a situation where one individual who happens to own six is maybe just looking to sell, and I brought in another owner who actually owns a couple more buildings in town, and they're talking. So if we get them all to work together, that would be fantastic, and we take that along with the business district incentives for Harlem. It'll work. And in the meantime, what we've done, we've accumulated based on our comprehensive plan we did in 2019. One of the things there was to accumulate or buy properties as they become available, which in what may be considered the future business district. And to that end, we've done that. Obviously, we bought the property for the municipal parking lot, but besides that, we bought the property at 123rd and 71st Court on the corner. We're going to demolish that building in the near future. That was voted on at the council meeting 2 meetings ago. And we actually have closed on the building to the south of that too, which is nothing's going to happen right away on that. We're going to rent it out until such time. My long-term plans, depending on how things go, would be to start accumulating those buildings on that block as they come due and people willing to sell them. There's no pressure, there's no eminent domain. It's just something that it's probably going to outlast me, but somewhere down the road, the business district is going to have to deal with the parking problem. We had back in the day, we had times where we had mostly specialty shops, but people would go in and park for 5 minutes and buy a shirt and go jump back in the car and leave. Now, the majority of those are great restaurants and great local restaurants, and people don't just come in and leave. They actually come in. They may stay for an hour and a half or longer. So we've got to deal with those parking problems, and we have to some extent nowhere close to what we need to finish up, but we will continue to do that. Again, going down the business development side on the TIF, Gateway TIF, we had our first remodeling funding project, and that was the Tiffany Square. The two other major developments, which was the Pride Store and the Senior Center, both of those developers decided not to use TIF money, but actually to use the county's 7C projects, and they decided to do that. So in order to use TIF money, the projects have to meet some certain strict criteria by law. This was actually the first one that actually met that criteria, and so we've been able to use the funds for that. So, and we're looking for maybe one more. We're in negotiations with them right now. Moving on to the recreation department, it's had a great year. We added our 6th park. This is the park over at Orchard Park next to the rec center. This kind of kept in mind I mentioned it one time, in my many years of, almost 50 years of banking and management of people, I've often had a theory about management by walking around in the building I was at. Here in the city, I used management by driving around. So I just kind of drive around, see what's going on, trying to come up with some ideas what we can do with different things. And I happened to see the Feldner property that was going up for sale right next to the rec center. So I went to the council and asked them, I think we should buy that, which is not what I've done with a couple other pieces of property, but and they agreed, and ultimately that became Orchard Park. So that's and it's a nice addition to the park. And again, it's our 6th park we've added in the last 20 years or so. We've had a great program in last year. We offered, we went from 433 people, programs that we offered in 2021. Last year we offered almost 800, 791 programs, which is about a 30% of increase. And what's great about that is there's programs for all ages over at the rec center and with the parks at different places. But I think right now we're at 49,000 visits to the rec center on an annual basis. And a number of years ago that was 20. So and people are starting to see it there. I mean, I have numerous people come up to me in town and say how much they love the rec center, and whether it be for the track or for the equipment or just taking projects or pickleball, something like that. I mean, it's being used all the time, and it's great. We have programs for all people, and it's just a fantastic place to have. And as we have younger people moving into town, and we're starting to see some of that, the older people aren't leaving, so we need programs for everybody, and that's what's making it happen. The pool continues to prosper. As daily admissions have gone up on a steady pace over the years, and and with this year we're going to finish the remodeling of the 50-year-old bathhouse. That pool, it's 50 years old. That we built in the mid 70s is when it was built, and again we used matching grants for the pool house remodeling. So that's again going back to my lead into this whole thing. As I said, last year we had 49,000 visits to the rec center, and I just see that continuing because we're going to have more programs for younger people and things such as that. And I think it just shows the demand, and one of the things why people come out here. I mean, Palos Heights has one of the best rec programs around. We've got the best police department. It's just a desirable place to live for all people. I mean, I go back historically, when my kids who now are in their mid-40s, when they first got out of school, all their friends were telling, we're going to move to LaGrange, we're going to move to Willow Springs or Western Springs, either one of those three. And now Palos Heights is the place to live. I mean, we've got great accommodations as far as, we've got great amenities as far as we've got with the rec center. We've got a nature center, we've got a 4-year college, we've got one of the premier medical facilities in the Chicago metropolitan area, if not the state. We've got the police department that is fantastic. I mean, school districts are great, arts, library. Why wouldn't you move here? And that's what kids are noticing. I mean, one of the best compliments I can get is when I see kids here that I knew grew up with my kids. I mean, I've got people here I coached as when my kids were playing ball and stuff like that, and that means so much. They think so much of Palos Heights, they come back here. I mean, unfortunately, the lady across the street from me passed away last month, and the house was for sale. It's actually had to sign up there 3 days. There's probably been 20 people a day going in that house the last 3 days, just because they're looking to get into Palos Heights. I mean, it's almost hard enough to get it. So those are the things we do. These are things we've done together. The little things like sidewalks. We put street lights, new street lights on Harlem Avenue, new signage, new crosswalks. We've done landscaping throughout. We have a senior bus. Or some people may not know that, but we have a bus that will drive you anywhere in the city for $2. If you need to go to a doctor's appointment and you don't want to drive or you can't drive, it'll get you there. These are all things that make Palos Heights a premier place to live. So, just look at the number of people that are moving back, and they know where it's coming. I said for wonders, over the years, this is stuff that we've accomplished together. It's great for people in town to realize what we have and what we can offer people. And you know, I've been out here 40 some years, and I'm so happy to be here, and I think you are too. So good luck coming up this year, and hopefully things work out right for everybody. Talk to you later. Bye now.